Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. Always a pleasure to welcome Louisville Mayor Pat Fallett, who is going to be telling us all about Constitution Day festivities. Good morning, Mayor Pat.
Good morning, Susie. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your radio broadcast today.
You know, it's always fun talking with you. You are like the epitome of what a mayor ought to be. How
Well,
long have you served?
I have served for 12 years. My term, I will rerun next year for another 4-year term.
But talk about a servant's heart. I love the fact that, Susie, we need to record this at this time because I also am a substitute school bus driver. You know, who does that? That's so awesome.
It's it's a passion. I love being around the children.
Yeah.
And when I retired, from the county, when I worked there for 33 years, I decided I needed to find something to do. And that's when I went ahead and started driving school bus. And I have been doing it on a substitute basis, which turns into almost all the time.
Right. That's not an easy gig, you know.
No, but I love it. I love it.
So
I love
cool.
the kids, and I love,
Neat.
they keep you young, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so neat. All right. Well, what's your favorite part about being mayor?
Favorite part of being mayor is being able to go out and be around the people, just to see what we can do and make things happen in Louisville. We have really started to see some improvements happening. Of course, we have Umbrella Alley now that is bringing people into the community to see the beautiful artwork that some local artists have put on the wall, and of course the beautiful umbrellas. We have really 3 excellent restaurants: Unhitched Brewery, we got Scratches, and we have Samantha's Grill. And they are all doing very well. And then we have Grinders. Grinders has been a staple in Louisville for quite a while. And so, but those are our main restaurants. We are trying to get some other things to come also. Ice cream. Ice cream would be good.
Oh, sure.
Or maybe a chocolate place might be good.
Sure.
Something, or have them together. That would really be nice.
Ice cream
too.
and chocolate. Can't go wrong there. All the food
Absolutely not. So we are working. We are working to try to fill some of our empty buildings downtown, and hopefully we'll get some of those good things coming in.
Perhaps someone listening has one of those kinds of businesses and thinking, I ought to be in Louisville. Louisville's
That's
a
right.
great location. So
Right.
you would be the gal to talk to, yes?
Correct.
Awesome.
Now, one of the most great things in coming to Louisville is the Wendy's.
Ooh, yeah.
We worked and worked and worked, about getting a Wendy's, and I was asked about by an individual that asked if they could see about bringing a Wendy's into Louisville, and I said, we'll take you with open arms. And we do have one coming in now. They are in the process of remodeling the former Burger King restaurant that was on 44 North.
Perfect.
So it's going to be really close to people. They can get off the interstate, go into Wendy's, maybe want to come on into town to see what we have to offer in town. So our residents are just really excited about this.
That's so awesome.
Yep.
It's just one of those great communities that time seems to not have touched. One of my favorite places ever going was to the Hannon Farm and seeing the Frisian horses.
Yes.
Now, I know that they've passed on and it's probably not there now, but
That's correct.
that was an awesome, awesome place. So cool.
Yes, and they were very gracious when leading up to the Grand Parade in Louisville. They would always open up their horse area that we could bring the Queen and the courts from other communities in. They would have us there and provide us a luncheon.
Yes.
And so the ladies could get dressed there, and then they would be ready to go. We'd get them done in time that they could go and get into the parade. But they
that's
were
neat.
gracious people to work with.
Oh,
They
true.
always just opened their home up to us.
Yeah.
And the little ladies got to see the horses and all the carriages and things like this.
Yep. And have
Uh,
you ever seen a barn, a horse stall with chandeliers
no,
before?
no. That's why I said it was very well done.
Oh, so
And
cool.
we were just, the ladies were always in awe. And that
Yeah.
always seemed to spur a little bit of interest of getting the outside communities to come to our Constitution Parade.
Yes, we're going to get to that because
Okay.
all that you have gone through this year. Let's start with COVID and how that may have affected Louisville as a community, businesses. I'm happy to hear that the restaurants are doing well, but also kind of affected what you normally do. This is
Right,
usually a huge week.
right. COVID has made a lot of change in all of our lives as far as that goes. And being most of our events are held inside, um, we knew that we could not use the facilities, which we normally did, the schools, to go in and do our events and be socially distanced. And so it was a hard decision to make, but we went ahead and decided that we would not have our Constitution week-long events. We did disappoint a lot of people. There was a lot of social media out there that kind of criticized on what we did, but we felt that we had to think of our community and of our own families putting this event on. So the one event that we felt that was probably the most important was the commemoration.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to be held on Thursday evening, September the 17th at 6 o'clock p.m. And it's going to be unique. It's going to be a drive-in.
Mm.
We were all excited. We thought, we would have an outside event. We had scheduled a tent. We were already going to schedule for downtown. And we come to find out the health department kind of said no, because if you
Yeah.
have over 10 people,
Right.
you're not abiding by the state guidelines. And of all towns, not to follow by the state guidelines was not a good thing.
Exactly. And I'm really surprised that you would get any criticism because everything's canceled. People know this.
Well, but they don't. I guess I don't want to say it's just disappointing, because usually the parade in September is usually
Yes.
the last parade that a lot of people go to. It's
Yes.
kind of the end of the summertime. Like we always say, Labor Day weekend is the end of summer. I think a lot of it had to do with it being when it is. And we didn't like canceling it, but we had to do that.
Ah,
And everybody said, well, why can't you have the parade? Well, how are you going to social distance people in the parade as well as the spectators? Because being in the parade every year, when you go down through the town, there's some 3 or 4 deep.
right.
And when you have, 5,000 people at a parade, that is a lot of people. And we have a pretty good-sized parade route, so they're able to sit and spread, but not far enough that we just felt it just was not going to work this year.
No, couldn't do 6 feet apart from
No,
everyone. No, it just wouldn't happen. So,
no, no.
yeah, well, like I say, there was no Hall of Fame parade. There's been, all of the parades have been
Sure.
canceled. So it's not surprising, and you did what you had to do. We're going to get through this, but this is how we keep
Absolutely.
everybody healthy and safe. We need to
That's for
just
sure.
kind of, put up with it for a little while, and then it will be gone. We'll be on the other side.
Yes,
In the
yes.
meantime, nobody is more upbeat than you. You think, you know what? Here's what we can do. We can do a drive-in.
There we go.
And so, tell us what this is going to look like.
Well, we're going to meet at Christ United Methodist Church. They're on East Gorgas Street. Pastor Hinkle was very helpful with us. He made contact with his 2 electronic gentlemen. They are meeting, their church is still meeting outside in the parking lot, by the way. they're doing a drive-in.
That's
They're
neat.
still doing it. And so he was able to speak to his media people and get us set up that Thursday evening they will be there, make sure we have the radio station that we can air through so people don't have to get out of their cars.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to just do the best we can. We are going to have David Shure, who was a former member of our committee for a long time, that has a lot of history, and we're going to have him talk a little bit about the commemoration and the history of the Constitution Committee. And then our president of our committee is Daniel Wilcox, who just happens to be Olga T. Weber's grandson.
Isn't that so cool?
And so we're going to have him talk a little bit about Grandma.
Yes.
And talk about her. We will have our Constitution Queen, Grace Ryman, be a part of our program, as we always have done at the church or at the school. We used to do the commemoration with the naturalization ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And since we're unable to do the naturalization ceremony, we're going to have her be a part of us with the commemoration.
Now, is this a repeat performance for Grace because you weren't able to have a pageant this year, correct?
That's correct. That's correct. When this all happened, normally in February and March, we're getting the applications ready to go out in the mail and get ready to select new applicants for this upcoming year's Queen and Court. And with everything, shut down,
right,
that included everything that we were going to do. So we spoke to the girls, and they were very gracious to stay on for another term because they lost out on a lot.
Yes.
A lot of our young people lost out on a lot of things.
Yes.
And they said we would be glad to stay on, knowing that they're all seniors except for one on the court, and we said we would work around their schedule. So they have been really, really good, thinking of different ways that they can do things in the community. They were able to help out on July 4th with the unveiling of the Umbrella Alley.
Yes.
They helped the Historical Society serve root beer floats. Now, how many people would get an honor of getting root beer floats from the Queen and Court?
That's right. That'd be pretty cool.
So now they're doing the flags that you would like to retire somehow but have no way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
They are doing a flag collection at the Constitution Center on the 13th from 11 till 1. You just drop off your tattered flags, and they are going to work with Troop 44, and sometime this fall, hopefully be able to retire them in the proper way.
Mm-hmm.
We felt that was very good for our gals to be a part of that and be able to collect the flags.
Well, it's so nice that you found some wonderful ways for them to serve the community, because that's what is important about this particular pageant. These are ambassadors. These are young women who really know their stuff as far as the Constitution and why Louisville is the Constitution City.
Right.
And they've done some studying, and there's a lot of pride there.
Absolutely. Well, they missed out on their trip to go to Washington, D.C. And that is always a lot of time the highlight of the reign. They get to go and see the congressman and take a tour of the Capitol and stuff. And they just missed out on a lot of things. And we're just so thankful that they were able to and willing to stay on for another year to help us out.
Hopefully they can make up for that this year. Yeah, that's our hope. We do need to take a short little break. We are going to be back with Mayor Pat Fallett after these words. You're listening to Our Community. Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Mayor Pat Fallett, talking about Constitution Day, which is September the 17th. Why is that the day, Mayor Pat?
Well, that was the day that Olga T. Weber, she worked very, very hard to get us known as Louisville Constitution Town. She started in 1952 and really worked to make us known as Constitution Town, and we have celebrated it ever since.
And her grandson, Daniel,
Yes, Daniel.
is going to be speaking and saying some memories of his grandma?
Yes, at our commemoration, we felt that it was very appropriate to have him be a part of our program and talk about his grandma.
I just love it. Has he shared any fun stories with you that you'd be able to share with us to kind of give us
Not really.
Okay.
You know, he doesn't say a whole lot, but when he does, it's very meaningful of what he says about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. We're going to have part of our program. We kind of put this program together that serves part of the mayor's breakfast, which we normally had on Monday morning, and then part of the commemoration naturalization ceremony that we always had on the 17th, and we always held at the school.
Can I stop you right there? Because that
Sure.
naturalization ceremony is so important. Am I to understand that there's not going to be a naturalization ceremony this year? Or
That's correct. That's as far as what we are doing.
what happened to all those people then who want to become naturalized citizens?
I would say that they are utilizing maybe on Zoom.
Oh,
They might be doing it some other way. When I spoke to Judge Heath, is who I've always worked with, as well as the clerk of court, Phil Giovasas. I've always, not Phil, Lou Giovasas. I got to keep the Giovasas straight here.
Yes.
But we've always kind of worked it out. It started back in 2010 when I became the mayor. I felt that this was something that our young people should have an opportunity to see.
Absolutely.
I feel that so many times we take our freedoms for granted.
Yes.
And these people work so very hard to become citizens of our great country. And if our young people would have to ever take that test, they would have a very hard time passing it.
I think any one of us, and we
Right.
probably really ought to have to take it before we can vote.
Well, I'm kind of go along with you there.
Oh, my goodness.
It's very interesting because we always did our program at the middle school, which was 7th and 8th graders would always have the opportunity to come in and watch the ceremony.
What's
and
their response? Because I can't sit through those without just sobbing.
It is just unbelievable when we would bring the citizens down the aisle to come up onto the stage. These young students would stand up and applaud them. We always put their families in the center down front so that they would have the photo ops. But when those members would come in, these kids would stand up and applaud and just continually applaud.
Wow.
I mean, it just still gives me goosebumps when I think about it. They're so appreciative of the people.
Yeah.
And during the program, during the ceremony, you could hear a pin drop in that auditorium. They are just overly,
yeah, they get it.
Thrilled with it.
They get it.
And we have a minister that his parents were both brought in under naturalization.
Wow.
And so he is very much aware of what they put through. And I know I've expressed to the young people when I've spoke to the different families, they work on this sometimes for almost 5 or 6 years.
Yes.
Because, number one, it's a lot to learn. Number two, it's expensive.
Yes.
And so they want to make sure that once they get into the program, they're able to complete it. And it's just, we've taken in maybe as less as maybe 10, and we have taken in as many as 30, 35.
Well,
So it just depends. It depends on how many naturalization ceremonies they have throughout Stark County. And when ours comes up in September, they're able to bring them through.
It absolutely is something to behold, and anyone who has not gotten to witness one really, really needs to. Put that on
Absolutely.
your list of things to do, because it is like nothing else. It really does give you such an appreciation for what we are given by our birthright.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
understand what people go through to be able to just be a citizen of the United States. It does give you, fills you with pride.
Yes, it does.
So that's in a normal year. So that's not taking place.
That's not going to happen this year.
All of that we just talked about that's so cool, that's not happening.
It's not going to happen.
Right. So let's focus on what is. Tell us what else we can look forward to.
Well, you know, we're going to, like I say, have the two speakers be part of the program. And then we're going to end up the program with what we call a concert of prayer. And we ask the ministers from the Louisville area to pick one specific title that they would like to pray for. And we've asked them to, you know, just do maybe a 30 to 40 second prayer, such as favor and provisions for schools, teachers, and students.
Yes.
Strengths of our homes and families. Protection for safety, service personnel, medical, police, fire, EMTs, the discernment and wisdom for government leaders, our local, state, and national, the gratitude, the favor and security for military personnel, the prosperity for our commercial, retail, and manufacturing businesses, and the strength for our churches and leaders. So these are things that our ministerial association has been they've worked really close with me on always having this at Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, and that's how we end our program. And I felt what be more fitting than to do that also.
Oh, I think that'll be beautiful, and it will availeth much.
Right, that's correct.
And this is all taking place on the 17th, Thursday,
right.
6
Thursday
p.m.
evening at 6 p.m.
6 p.m. at Christ United Methodist. Now, we're talking about driving in. Do you have a way? Is there a street that people need to help us with logistics on this to know where to arrive and where to come
would, normally, if you're coming in off of 62, you will head south on State Route 44. You will pass Giant Eagle, and that'll street right there will be Gorgas, and you will turn left and just go right down, heading east, and you'll go right by you'll see right where the church is. It sits on the south side of Gorgas.
And I'm assuming someone will be there sort of directing traffic and
that's correct.
telling us all
to
where
make sure that you're parked properly, and so that, you know, we know that you'll want to stand outside of your car for the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance, but that would be the only time that you would be out of the car, and there'll be somebody there. It's going to be something different, yes.
It's a brilliant way to socially distance and still do the recognition of such an important thing. Now, some people might be habitual latecomers. That doesn't work when we're doing things in cars.
No, that's true.
So what time should we arrive? You don't want to aim to get there at 6 because it's starting at 6.
I would say you should be there by 5:30.
Smart.
To find your parking place.
Picnic in the car.
Yeah, you can have a picnic. Stop and get your food. And you can have a picnic in your car. And if you happen to get there late, you might have to park over by Al Jancic Park. I don't know.
And hope that you can hear.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
But Pastor Hinkle has been really good with us, working with us to get the electronics and everything, making sure that we will be able to be heard. And
again, you're going to be tuning into a specific radio station to be able to hear.
Yes, and I'm not sure what it is.
But we'll have all that information there, I'm sure.
Yes,
everybody will be told what to dial to so that they can hear.
Right.
But it's not a megaphone or anything like that. It's
no.
to be able to listen from your car.
Right, because he uses it for his church service.
That's so
And
smart.
so if his church service hears that, there should be no problem. And,
Sure.
Billy Janet has been really good providing us with some music that we're going to be used that evening.
Nice.
Probably one of my favorite gospel singers is Sandy Patty.
Oh, my, yes.
And she's got her rendition of God Bless America.
Oh, my goodness.
And then everybody's favorite is Lee Greenwood.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to end the program with God Bless the USA. So, we're going to do it the best we can. We hope that we have plenty of people out to hear and celebrate, what Constitution Day is all about.
Why is that so important, Pat?
Because it's our legacy here in Louisville. And we have so many freedoms that we need to be thankful for. And I just feel that we need to be celebrating this instead of having all this negative attitudes towards one another. We need to turn it around and be positive.
The whole purpose that Louisville has put such an emphasis on knowing the Constitution and having young people learn the Constitution, that came from a concern that young people weren't familiar with the Constitution.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How would you compare that to like today? I mean, that was started how many years ago? And we look at today, it hasn't gotten better.
No, 1952 is when Odette Weber really went forward with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say it has not improved. I agree with you.
Your message to other communities and other school systems and adults who may have never read it before would be
You need
what?
to read your Constitution. You need to know your Constitution. And it needs to be taught in the schools, in your history classes, in your government classes. And I know I'm not making excuses, but I know that they're not taught it completely. Because when we have essay contest, we give them a part of it that we've used the preamble. And we might give them a phrase of the preamble and ask them to please do your essay on that. You would be totally surprised on what some of the information comes back from these young people and what they write. They don't understand it.
Yeah. Well, the framers were brilliant. I think they were God-inspired. That's my opinion, because something to be so appropriate and so current and contemporary for hundreds of years.
Right.
When in doubt, check out the Constitution as far as the law and how we ought to behave among each other as citizens.
And who would have ever thought back when they wrote this preamble in the Constitution that we are kind of living in some of the times.
Yes.
Right now,
we're testing
probably
it. We're testing it out, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Making sure it works.
That's right. That's true.
Well, we appreciate you so much and everything. Want to remind everybody, it's this Thursday, the 17th, 6 p.m. You want to drive over to Christ United Methodist. You want to get there by 5:30 because this starts at 6. And going to tune in to a radio station. I'm sure there's signs and so forth to tell you where to tune in so that you can participate in a wonderful program commemorating Constitution Day. Mayor Pat Fallett, thank you so much for all you do in our community.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your radio station.